Good afternoon. On behalf of the entire Lewis family, I wanted to say welcome and thank you for being here. Thank you for coming together and celebrate the amazing life of Warner Lewis III. I'm Reverend Karen. Although many of you know me as Warner's life partner for a while, his business partner, his dance partner, although he was drumming and I was dancing. And most recently, we were prayer partners. He would call me, as a matter of fact, he called 2 days before he passed away, and we anchored in prayer with one another. And so I am going to offer our form of affirmative prayer here in a moment, but before we do that, I wanted to welcome everyone who is joining us online. It is amazing how many hearts and lives he touched. So before we start, I would ask Lev to please come up and light the candle of life. Thank you. And recognizing that we all come from different faith traditions, I invite you to connect with the God of your understanding, and please join me in prayer. As we take a breath, as we recognize this now moment to be one of love, of peace, of harmony, of joy. And as we gather here, we step fully conscious into the realization that we are all part of that one life. That is love and peace and harmony. And recognizing that sweet spirit is always with us as eternal loving kindness, as eternal grace. We come together knowing the highest and best for one another, for the life that is Warner Lewis, for life itself, and for our own lives. And so it is with a heart full of love that I call this time together healing and comforting and peaceful. And so it is. Amen. Now, Warner loved a good party. And you know, he would say it was a good party when different people would come together. You know, the people he knew from the racetrack, business clients who became friends, friends who became business clients, people he knew, family, and his beloved music community. He would love to look out and look at all of you. And so we want to see who all is in this room. We want to see how Warner has touched your life. So I invite you to raise your hand if this applies to you. Who among you has ever heard Warner play the drums? Yeah. Who among you is related to him? Who among you conversed with Warner in a language other than English? Oh, yeah. Nice. Who among you played music with Warner? Yes. Who among you served on a board or for a good cause together with Warner? Yeah. Who among you benefited from his legal and business knowledge? Yes. Who among you enjoyed a meal with Warner? Yeah, he liked his food. He did. Who among you worried when Warner ran his car in one of his favorite racetracks in Belgium? Yep. Who among you was touched by his great big heart? Yes. We are so grateful for your presence here today. We come together from diverse backgrounds, and yet we can all come together and support one another through this time that we spend here together. We want everyone to know that tears are part of a celebration of life, and so is laughter. And so is music if we celebrate a Warner Lewis, right? So we're going to hear from our beloved Frank Smith and Fred Alweg and Charles Mack.
When I find myself in times of troubles, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. But though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And when the night is dark and cloudy, there's still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be,
Now I would ask Claudia Gilbert, Warner's older sister, to come up and give the eulogy.
Hello, everyone. You know, legacy is so much more than what we give people. It's what we leave in people. And we're all here today because Warner left something precious in all of us. You know, it's not surprising that he made legacy his life's work. He formed his first estate planning company almost 30 years ago. And throughout his lifetime, he helped thousands upon thousands of families over multiple generations preserve and pass on their legacies. His clients adored him. I'm sure there's some here. And I'm sure many of them today feel that they've lost a brother, too. Well, since most of you knew Warner as an adult, I thought I would share some of his earlier life with you. Warner was born in October 1957 in a suburb of Chicago, wrapped in a legacy of his own, even at birth. Warner was the ninth Warner Lewis to be born in America. He came from a line of patriot ancestors who included George Washington, Colonel Robert Lewis of the Colonial Army, Virginia, and Meriwether Lewis of Lewis and Clark fame. He was very proud of his heritage. He joined the Sons of the American Revolution a couple of years ago, and then went to Virginia to visit some of the family homes, which are now museums. And he had the best time sharing his stories with the stories that the docents could give him about his heritage. Now, the trip connected him very deeply to his inheritance as a Lewis, but also his obligations as a citizen. Now, while he and I had very different political views, I really respected his passion, and he had a great deal of it. You all know what I mean, right? So I was 5 years old when Warner was born. Warner's sister, Allie, my younger sister, was only 19 months when he was born. And then years later, when our dad remarried in Europe, Warner's only brother, and now our only brother, Brian, was born in London. Brian is here with us today, having just flown in from Paris, the French one. And we thank you so much for being here. Warner was not always known as Warner, however. In our family, from the time he was born, we called him Buddy. Because of their closeness in age, Allie and Buddy were thick as thieves. They were accomplices and sidekicks in everything. Allie was his protector, and he needed protection, often. You won't be surprised to know that little Buddy was a whirligig of a kid, a spitfire who was always into things and always looking for the next big, exciting thrill. Sound familiar? Yeah. He could turn, for Buddy, nothing was really fun unless it was really loud, really fast, and really scary. It was really when our family moved to Switzerland, however, that he fell in love with the loves that satisfied all of those things for him. And those were alpine skiing, hockey, skating, race car driving, music, and languages. Warner spoke 5 languages. He was eloquent in English, immaculate in French, disciplined in Swiss German, precise in High German, and saucy alla puttanesca in Italian. He learned his first language, French, the hard way. While I went off to an English-speaking school every day, Allie and Buddy were driven up the hill to a little village one-room schoolhouse where they sat in the back of the room completely clueless about what was being said to them or about them. And if it hadn't been for math, I think they would have learned nothing the entire year. But they persevered and they came out fluent. Warner wouldn't stop. He learned another language and another language and another language because for him, Having language was the bridge that connected him to people. And the more language he could speak, the more languages and hearts he could know. When he was 10 in Europe, our parents divorced, and it was crushing. The three of us found solace in each other with a little help from Radio Luxembourg. Radio Luxembourg was a pirate ship that sailed the Mediterranean, and from 11 o'clock at night to 2 or 3 in the morning, it would broadcast all the great music that was coming out of the US and the UK. The Doors, Jefferson Airplane, the Stones, just really revolutionary stuff. So the kids, the three of us, would get together late at night and tune in and comfort each other and love great music. I think that music was Werner's sixth language. He loved sharing it with people. He loved making it with people. Even for a short time, he became a radio DJ at college stations all around the country. It was also during those trying times that Werner made an announcement. Buddy made an announcement. At the dinner table one night, he clinked his glass with a knife, pulled out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket, cleared his throat, and announced, "From this day forward and forevermore, I shall be known as Werner." And so it was. He stepped up and he stepped into the worlds of Werner, and he carried on with a higher sense of purpose, obligation, and caring. He had the most generous heart. Werner never graduated from college, though he attended many, because every winter the snow would fall, and it was far more interesting than any academic. So he would draw from school, go skiing for a couple of weeks, stay for a couple of months, and then in the spring he'd re-enroll in another school, and the repeated itself. So eventually he ended up in Sun Valley, dedicated himself, and became a ski instructor. He was a fabulous skier. I remember one night standing at the base of a hill watching all of the late skiers come in at night before the sun came down, and then there was one who had more grace and style than any I'd ever seen. It was poetic. Of course, it was Werner. I didn't recognize it at the time, but I was so proud of him. And for all the beauty, that was nice, but what really Werner loved about skiing was speed and the slope and the moguls and the cuts and the turns and the powder and the pack. And after 50 years of that, his knees were shredded completely. We all remember that he limped. He was also in a lot of pain. Yet he was determined to ski again. And so in the last 6 months alone, he had both knees replaced. And he skied again. Just recently, he went to Flagstaff and had a great day. And then he got on a plane and flew to Sun Valley, Idaho, which was his favorite mountain in the world, Mount Baldy. And he got to ski there again. I'm sure it must have felt something like a triumph for him, but also a reconnection with his earlier self, a completion of sorts. Werner often said that it was through our mother, who was a luminous soul, and they adored each other. He came to know that unconditional love could really exist because he felt it from her. I know he also felt that in this community and from the divine. Werner's faith in God was boundless. So the night when he passed, Allie and Lev and I hugged him, loved him, kissed him on his brow, blessed him on his way as he returned into the infinite source of ultimate love. So grateful that his pieces of legacy will remain with all of us forever. Bless you, Werner.
Hey everyone, my name's Lev. I know I've met a lot of you over the years, and it's very apparent through those who I don't know just how many of you he really touched and had a huge impact on. I know he had a extremely boundless heart, and like my Aunt Claudia said, just turned friends into business clients and business clients into friends, and he is who I learned how to be a salesman from and just a man from, and how to really chase relationships, whether it's romantic, friendship, just passing through people on the street and being aware. And so to cut away from some of the more somber stuff, kind of talking about the drums and the music, because that's where him and I really connected. One of my favorite memories of my dad was after practicing my piano scales for an hour, which was a mandatory assignment before I was allowed to play guitar. I was like, no, today I'm going to learn the drums. Like you're gonna sit me down, I'm not gonna play it. And so I sat there and on the piano for an hour, timed myself to exactly an hour. And he walked in and I worked on the basic rock beat, just the. And after a couple painful hours of trying to get through that, I finally got it where I was comfortable and happy. And he was like, "That's great, son. You're better than Ringo Starr. Figure it out from here." And he walked out of the room. And that was the first and only drum lesson I got from my dad. And I did figure it out. We got to jam at a few of his parties where he was on bass and I was on drums and vice versa. And that was really special to be able to connect on that other language and really be able to, especially that relationship between a bass player and a drummer. You got to be locked in together on the same key. So it was just really thankful to have him there and supporting what I've done in my life, whether that's been on the sales breed and more professional or following my music to the fullest extent. He just wants everyone that he met to really live their happiest, most fulfilling life, and was constantly reminding me of that no matter what I was trying to get into. And the big thing that's always going to stick with me, and as much as I hated it, trying to learn it when I was younger, was 3 phrases that he really always drove into me and always was talking about. And that was be present, be impeccable with your word, and work with people that you like, know, and trust. And I'm sure if any of you spent any extended amount of time with him, you've heard him say that exact thing. And so that was really his mantra and the way that he wanted to reach everyone. And so to those of you who came out here, I know from some a long way, from our people tuning in from across the world, legitimately, like, thank you for keying in and sharing with us your experience with my father. And I guess I'll keep this a little short and sweet and leave you with words of encouragement that I've given to other friends as they've gone through loss and through painful, sad energy. Because if anyone knows anything about science, energy cannot be destroyed, only created. And so taking that sad energy, you can be buried by it, consumed by it, or you can use that energy and move forward, no steps back, because that's how we honor a man like Warner best. So thank you all for coming again. We have a little video of his life coming. I think that's next, yes? Thank you again.
Every time I walk out of the house, put on another face just to blend in with the crowd, so nobody sees me. You would never believe me. I tell you that I'm whole, but I'm still healing. I tell you that I'm happy, but I'm grieving. Thought I was a fighter, I'm still in the fire. But if I'm being honest, I'm not being honest. I'll give you roses, just hoping you don't see the weeds in my garden. If I'm being honest, I'm at my darkest. I'm sitting here waiting and praying for someone to show me what love is. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. Every time I'm past the hardest part, here comes another ghost just to pull me to the dark. Thought it was over. God, let this be over. 'Cause if I'm being honest, I'm not being honest.
shining like a midnight sun. Out of darkness I have come. I see God in everyone. Let me be an instrument, guided by an heaven sent. May these grapes of pain ferment, alchemize to love's content, ever be a sacrament, knowing God is my intent.
Hello, everyone. I'm the middle sister, the middle child, and the one that Warner needs to protect now, in this moment. I have a Celtic reading because my heart is so tender. If you give me a minute, I just need to take a breath. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today while thinking of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me, as much as I love you. And each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. But when tomorrow starts without me, please try and understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand and said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I'd have to leave behind all those I dearly loved. But as I turned to walk away, a tear fell from my eye. For all my life, I'd always thought I didn't want to die. I had so much to live for, so much left to do. It seemed almost impossible that I was leaving you. I thought of all the yesterdays, the good ones and the bad. I thought of all that we had shared and all the fun we had had. If I could relive yesterday, just even for a while, I'd say goodbye and kiss you and maybe see you smile. And then I finally realized this could never be, for emptiness and memories would take the place of me. And when I thought of worldly things, I might miss some tomorrow, I thought of you, and when I did, my heart was filled with sorrow. But when I walked through heaven's gates, I felt so much at home. When God looked down and smiled at me from his great golden throne, he said, "This is eternity and all I've promised you. Today your life on earth is past, but here life starts anew. I promise no tomorrow, but today will always last. And since each day is the same way, there's no longing for the past. So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart. For every time you think of me, I'm right there in your heart."
And now we're going to hear the last song that Warner played with the Divine Group.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Now I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, heading for the Frisco Bay, 'cause I've had nothing to live for
Yes, this is a celebration of a great life, and I think it's perfectly fine to clap. Thank you so much, and thank you, Frank, for bringing that to our attention. I didn't know that. That's very special. Thank you very much. We are going to hear from a very, very dear friend of Warner's and myself, Elizabeth LeSueur.
Now it's on. Warner, I'm going to speak to you because you are here, obviously. You are here with us, and you are here as us. Yours was no shallow life. No, it had depth. You did things with intention, nothing lightly. You lived life with intention. And your life had breadth, as evidenced by the circles that are here. Cars, music, business, radio, skiing, chote, politics, from Chicago to Oklahoma, Rhode Island to Idaho, Switzerland, Arizona, California. Your circles overlapped. You delighted in sharing these circles. And I actually wrote big enough I don't have to use those. And your favorite way to share these circles was to invite us all to your parties. Wonderful parties, the best parties. One of the things I learned and loved from you is that you filled your life with desires. You were very unapologetic about your desires. Desires was your action. Desire took you to the depths and clearly to the breadths. It fed your endeavors and all of your adventures. And you gave back. Generously, you gave back. Sharing your circles, sharing your desires and your action, sharing your gifts. You enlarged my life. There were so many moments of grace. Simple moments, playful, deep, ordinary moments. And one of my favorites was when there were 3 busy lives, Karen and I and you, in one beautiful house. I'd come out in the morning and I'd hear you in your man cave listening to whatever Republicans listen to in the morning. I'd come in and sit with you, just quiet, thankful, generous love. One of my deepest appreciations of you, and I spoke with this about Jeff recently, was how you served others, your work, your vocation. I was somewhat envious of a job, work, where you served with passion and compassion. You served with skill, and you served with ease, and you made all those in this point in their, trying to figure out this part of their lives with such comfort. Amazing. And you were planning for the inevitable, this inevitable. You were never in denial of death. You planned for it. You helped so many others plan for it. Death was and is vital to life, and we all know that. So I imagine, and I have this thought, that you might, for your next endeavor, serve us and our souls to awaken in our next phase of consciousness. I think you're going to be there for us. And just like you did in life, I think you're going to serve us there as well. Warner, you will continue to enlarge my life. Although ours was not a perfect friendship, it was and is a grand friendship, and I'm so grateful for you, Warner, for you, for all of us as Warner. Thank you. And because Warner was a man's man,
My sincere condolences to Warner's family, friends, and loved ones. A huge thank you and appreciation to Karen who put this together and everybody else who was involved. This takes a lot of work. I feel honored to be asked to speak at Warner's celebration of life and still shocked that he's no longer with us. At least not here. I kind of feel him around and I talk to him often. I guess as many of us would agree, your first impression of Warner was his gentle demeanor with a warm, sincere, engaging smile, and one who listens intently in the conversation. Warner was very warm and sincere, and yes, he listened when oftentimes we may be thinking of what we're going to see next instead of actually listening and engaging. That was one of the wonderful qualities of Warner Lewis III. Just looking at this picture, you can get the impression of Warner's warmness and sincerity. Warner was one of my best friends, where we spent more time together than everyone over the past few years, second only to my wife, of course. We loved to sample good tequila, where one of our favorite spots was Modern Margarita in the city north, mainly because the bartender was so cool and extremely knowledgeable about good tequila. We always had a good time no matter what we did. Warner and I probably, many of us here, and a lot of similar interests and we're passionate about, primarily the love of music, brought a lot of people together. His love of travel, sports cars, being grateful for the many good friends we had. What a great friends we had over the years. Whenever Warner threw a party, it was one of the most well-attended ever, where typically a common comment from many who attended Warner's parties, or mine, where Warner was always there, the comment was, wow, you have some really, really nice friends. That was special. I knew Warner, as well as I, took that as a huge compliment, and we both believed that the quantity, and especially the quality of your friends is one of the greatest gifts in life. We all may be expecting and believing Warner to be around much longer. I sure as heck did. So what does a way too soon passing like this teach us? Love your family and your friends, and always, always let them know how much. Never let anything get between you if possible. Life is way too short. I see a lot of great friends and familiar faces and musicians from jams all over the valley here, and of which there'll be a jam on Wednesday night, if that hasn't been mentioned yet, at Kimmy's, Tatum and Bell. That's where Warner and I first met many years ago. We had a lot of musician friends, and we were great friends from that point on. Kimmy, I mentioned Kimmy's, the Blues Bar in the El Dorado, every Wednesday night was always a great time. And that was just to name a few. Warner hit them all and then some. Sharon and I would often go meet out Warner for dinner and drinks, and many times see him play drums. We really enjoyed that, and I especially enjoyed Sharon getting up with the tambourine. She was really quite good at that. It was great seeing how she had flair on the cowbell. Lord knows we all need more cowbell. Warner was a special guy, very giving, very intelligent, spoke many languages, as we've heard, and shared some incredible experiences, especially his travels, his time in Geneva, Switzerland, where I finally had the opportunity to visit my mother's brother, who I was very close to growing up, and a family that had lived there for about 50 years. I went from one end to the other of Switzerland, and it was unbelievable. I mean, what a beautiful place that is in the world. I can't wait to go back and see more. Wish that could have been with Warner, with him in all his languages. That's really makes a trip. As we know, Warner was talented and very fun to be around. Warner was very refined in many ways. He loved great food, fine wines, and great company. I was fortunate enough to have Warner invite me many times over, typically several times a month, to come and have dinner, as he likes to have fine cooked meals delivered to his home. That being said, he would go out to eat so often that those dinners would accumulate. So my good fortune, he would call me, and we would split and sample like 3 of them and just have a great evening of conversation, talking about life, music, skiing, cars, friends, current events, and yes, some politics. And just plain laughing and having a great time. I'm going to miss those times like you have no idea. It's hard to fathom that they're not going to happen anymore. However, I'm going to forever keep in my mind those times, and I'm going to have conversations like I do several times a week, whether he hears them or not. I believe he does. I feel that way about anyone who that's close to you has passed, that they're still around, and they may very well hear you. I am thinking, as long as I don't answer myself, people won't think that I lost it, at least not yet anyway. Warner, we're going to miss you, my friend. I'm just imagining a shot glass with some tequila. Here's to you, my friend. Thank you.
That was a mic drop, an unintended mic drop. I just wanted to say thank you so much, and we've asked Reverend Leslie and the band to play Over the Rainbow.
There's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dared to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where all troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for celebrating this great man. When you came in, you were given a card. It says, "My favorite memory of Warner." Please take the time, write on there. We have some refreshments outside, and we invite everyone to hang about and share those memories, because that is how we are going to continue to have him live in our lives. Thank you, Ray, for mentioning Wednesday night. Wednesday night, there's going to be a jam. We all know how much Warner loved a jam. And so there's going to be a jam in his honor over at Kimmy's, which is just here on Bell Road and Tatum. And it starts at 7 o'clock, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we are going to raise that shot of tequila, or 2, maybe 3. We'll see. We'll have to see about that. We can no longer share the touch of his hand, the sound of his voice, the sight of his welcoming smile. And so I'm going to extinguish the flame that symbolizes the completion of his physical life. Yet the memories of Warner Lewis III, his love for living, and his generous heart live in our lives. And his special light, it is up to us now to carry it. Thank you for being here. We're going to allow the family to make their way into the lobby. And then we're going to gather.